Hey, it's Dr. Ron Kaiser here, and today I'd like to talk a bit about either or thinking, or a specific type of either or thinking that I call a fail thinking. Now, either or thinking reflects on the fact that something is either black or it's white, it's either day or it's night, ignoring the fact that these things exist on a continuum and there are many shades of gray between black and white. We have dusk and daybreak and so on that are different than the middle of the day or the middle of the night. Now, I first became quite aware of how either or thinking impacts on people when I was doing my internship many years ago at a selective university where most of the students who came there were among the top students in their class in high school. They got to the university and suddenly, or in some cases not so suddenly, but eventually, they half of them wound up in the bottom half of the class. It's just the way the things go. So that for many of them, they wound up coming to seeing me in a counseling situation because of the fact that they were adjusting to the fact that if they weren't an A student, then obviously that's a failure. As if the letters B, C, and D do not exist on a grading scale. Now, many of us in growing up were fortunate enough to not have that as a dilemma. We learned pretty early that there are B's, there are C's. You don't always get an A. So even those of us who were pretty good students didn't always wind up with A's. One of the things that, as I look back upon it, was quite apparent is if I got an A, I didn't think too much about it. I didn't use it as a learning experience. It was, in essence, a reward. If I fell short and thought I was capable of getting an A, however, I would use it as a learning experience. Review, where did I go wrong? What can I do better next time? And sometimes the things that I missed on a test or during the course of a unit became among the things that were most embedded to me because I concentrated on them more, knowing that I had fallen short. One of the benefits of having a graded scale is the fact that we can learn from our mistakes and, in fact, embrace our mistakes. But we can't do so if we regard things as either A or fail, and if we make a B equivalent to a fail. Failure is kind of a disincentive unless you know that you really screwed up. But a C shouldn't be a disincentive. It shows that you know a certain amount and you hopefully can bring that higher unless you want to accept the fact that in this particular area, this is where I am. This is not my favorite subject, or this is not my career, and I don't have to be as good at it as somebody who is really committed to it. It helps with our overall mental health, and it helps with being able to make adjustments and corrections to those things that are important to us. Now, I'm not talking just about grades, obviously. I'm thinking in terms of this being a metaphor for real life, that in many, many cases, people get discouraged from trying things, learning new things that could actually make a real positive difference in their lives because of the fact that they fell short the first time that they tried. And whether that falling short means that you actually had some kind of a test, or whether you applied for a job and were turned down, or whether a particular person that you wanted to have a social relationship with really didn't want to have it with you. Those are all inputs that can help us make better decisions in the future And certainly, if we recognize that the world isn't just made up of A's and fails, it doesn't have to be a downer in terms of our self-perceptions. Maybe someday someone who is brighter than I am will figure out a grading system that doesn't create that kind of angst in so many people. But in the meantime, it's up to each of us to be responsible for our own mental health and our reactions to how we deal with something that isn't the biggest success, but also is not a failure. It's very important to not walk away from those kinds of situations treating a non-success as a total failure. There actually are many more B's, C's, and D's given out than there are A's and fails. So for most of us, it's something to really get used to embrace, and to use as an experience for future learning. This has been Dr. Ron Kaiser, looking forward to speaking with you next time.